In intelligence, the threat must be analyzed from every vector: air, ground, and mind. Project Sentinel stands as the definitive multi-layered file that focused the U.S. intelligence community to analyze a menace that operated across all three. Sentinel was not one project, it was a cascading assessment that began with a physical technological breach and ended with an analysis of reality interference, including dimensional portals. Phase 1 dealt with the black triangles, massive silent aerial platforms that defied known physics. Phase 2 dealt with the localized high strangeness, psychic, physical, and interdimensional anomalies that defied logic, centered on specific geographic hotspots. Today, using the declassified document of CIA RDP 93 and CIA RDP 96, the complete series of both, we present the complete analysis of Project Sentinel. This is the documented history of the intelligence community facing a threat that broke the rules of physics and psychology. Phase 1 began as an air defense failure in the 80s across NATO airspace. The UK, Belgium, and later the continental US, military and law enforcement sources were reporting massive, silent, low-flying triangular crafts. These were not fuzzy lights. These were solid, enormous platforms operating with zero acoustic signature. The operational crisis was immediate, documented in CIA RDP 93, the series, reserved for analysis of foreign reconnaissance and aerospace threats. The consistency of the reports gathered from pilots and radar operators forced the agency to treat the phenomenon as a systematic security breach. The three impossible characteristics of the black triangle defined the intelligence dilemma: silent, low speed hover, massive size, and instantaneous non-inertial acceleration. A key CIA RDP 93 technical brief confirmed the severity of the operational security breach, saying, and I quote, "The confined, sustained, low-altitude flight, accompanied by zero acoustic signature and reported instantaneous vector change, places the operating platform outside the known physics of terrestrial jet or rocket propulsion. Assessment must proceed assuming hostile reconnaissance." End quote. Project Sentinel analysts working with the Defense Intelligence Agency, the DIA, focused on three geopolitical and technological theories for the Black Triangle's origin. 1. Hypothesis 1, classified U.S. program, the Aurora question. The first hope was that the Black Triangle was a highly secretive, low observable U.S. asset, the legendary Aurora, or an equivalent. The CIA had to determine if the sightings were merely collateral damage from domestic testing. However, the performance metrics, specifically the ability to instantaneously transition from a hover to hypersonic speed, continuously disqualified this theory. A declassified DIA analysis noted the physical constraints. Quote, "While low observable profiles suggest advanced domestic development, the reported persistent non-aerodynamic hover capability and absence of discernible lift mechanism eliminates all conventional U.S. aerospace designs, including those currently funded under special access programs." Hypothesis 2, hostile foreign reconnaissance. The nightmare: the Soviet Union or China achieved a spectacular technological leap, deploying a massive silent reconnaissance platform capable of charting U.S. nuclear and command and control sites at will. This would require breakthroughs in exotic propulsion, e.g. magnetohydrodynamics, that the U.S. was not even close to achieving. The geopolitical assessment underscored the strategic catastrophe. Quote, "The consistent, successful penetration of European and North American air defense systems by unidentified massive low observable platform compels the assumption of hostile intent and a critical, irreversible technological disparity." End quote. Hypothesis 3, unconventional origin, the unknown variable. When the technical facts eliminated the first two, the only option remaining was the unconventional. The documented maneuvers, specifically the lack of inertial effects during extreme acceleration, forced the CIA to categorize the Black Triangle as an asset operating outside of a known terrestrial framework. Phase 1 concluded that the threat was real, physical, and currently undefended. The failure of Phase 1 to definitively identify the Black Triangle led to a crucial intelligence realization. These phenomena were not always isolated to the air. In specific, geographically defined hotspots, often remote sites near military or nuclear installations in the U.S. West, the UAP sightings were merely the start of the problem. Intelligence began to correlate UAP reports with cascading multi-phenomenon interference, poltergeist, physics, psychic assault, and animal mutilation. This led to the launch of Project Sentinel Phase 2. The threat was no longer an aircraft, it was a localized breakdown of physical and psychological reality. The mandate for Phase 2 was formalized under the new Behavioral and Domestic Anomaly Assessment Series, CIA RDP 96. Phase 2 moved beyond air defense and into the realm of counterintelligence against non-physical threats. The focus shifted to specific documented locations experiencing persistent layered anomalies, what analysts categorized as high strangeness interference. The objective was to determine if this phenomenon was massive coordinated psychological operation, a deliberate environmental or scalar weapon test designed to drive U.S. citizens off mineral-rich land, or most unsettlingly, a signature of interdimensional intrusion. A CIA memo from CIA RDP 96 00788R 0001 0001 0001-3 series formalized the new threat profile. Quote, the sustained concentration of diverse anomalies, including documented UAP, acoustic interference, livestock mutilation, and localized neurological assault, suggest a unified, non-conventional intelligence or research operation focused on specific geopolitical terrain. The analysis of Phase 2 dictated that the intelligence threat had 4 simultaneous layers. Layer 1, physical and biological assault, animal mutilations. The documentation contained detailed analysis of livestock mutilations, surgical precision, and removal of organs with no trace evidence of human or known predatory involvement, i.e., imagine seeing a cow having their rectum on their back and yet seeing that there has been nothing that has been cut with a knife and instead appears to be laser-like cuts, but this is prior to the advent of any lasers that could do cutting on a mammal. Do you understand that, everybody? Do you understand that? This was interpreted not just as an anomaly, but as a potential biological intelligence collection operation. A DIA report on the phenomenon noted the non-conventional technique, quote, the consistent surgical application of high-temperature excision, that's where we get the laser-like cuts, and near total depletion of the vascular system strongly suggests a technology utilizing focus energy or advanced non-contact surgical implements far beyond known terrestrial forensic capabilities. 2. Psychological and sensory attack, poltergeist/neurological assault. The sites were plagued by reported poltergeist activity, objects moving, voices, and direct neurological attacks, fear, paralysis. Analysts treated this as a form of localized psychological warfare, the deployment of infrasound or psychic manipulation designed to drive occupants away. 3. Interdimensional signatures, the portal hypothesis. The most mind-bending analysis in the RDP 96 files involves the portal hypothesis, the possibility that the black triangles in the ground anomalies were signatures of a vehicle or intelligence utilizing an interdimensional technology, i.e. a portal, that momentarily disrupts local space-time. A later assessment in the Sentinel folder admitted the possibility, saying, quote, the documented phenomenon of objects appearing and disappearing instantaneously, coupled with localized magnetic and gravitational field fluctuation, provides circumstantial support for a mechanism exploiting local controlled space-time alteration. Project Sentinel, across both its phases, remains the definitive U.S. intelligence assessment of the unconventional. It forced the CIA and DIA to accept a simple, terrifying fact. There is a threat operating within the U.S. airspace and on U.S. soil that is non-terrestrial, non-human, or utilizing physics far beyond our comprehension. The project didn't end with the capture. It ended with the conclusion that the unconventional threat required a permanent, ongoing monitoring system. The black triangle proved our air defense was valuable, and the high strangeness proved our reality was vulnerable. The complete file of Project Sentinel is a masterpiece of intelligence analysis under impossible duress. It is the documented record of the government confronting the great unknown. We have finished the complex multi-phenomenon file. Now we're going to pivot to a sustained, isolated UAP event that remains active to this day. focused solely on the analysis of light. Next time, we're diving into a geographically confined persistent intelligence issue, Project Rio Sentinel, the intelligence assessment of the Candelaria Lights or Chinati Mountains anomaly in West Texas. We will analyze the military intelligence reports that tracked these silent, multicolored, and seemingly intelligent spheres of light over a critical remote region near the U.S. border. We'll use the CIA RDP 97 series memos to assess the core question: was this advanced reconnaissance mapping or sense of a sensitive area or a natural plasma phenomenon unique to the canyon? The documented truth of Project Sentinel is undeniable, and if you've been riveted by this extended journey into the archives, then your support for the channel is valued as we continue to expose the official record. I'll see you in the archives.